Alright guys, so obviously on this channel I cover a lot of audio products, and for the most part I cover them and then I kind of move on to the next one. So it's kind of rare that like when I test a product, it's really so good that it just becomes like my daily driver or daily device that I use in all different kind of situations. And the speakers that we're going to check out today, which are the Edifier MR 4.5, they have become my daily speakers, my monitors. Is what I use at my computer, and I've used them in so many different ways. And then I saw that they just went on sale for $199 because they normally retail for $249. But I felt like at $199, these are just an absolute steal. So it felt like now was the perfect time to talk about these. This is not a sponsored video. It's obviously going to come across as one because this product I love in so many different ways. And we're going to talk about all those different ways. And the first thing I want to talk about is just the look of them. They're available in black and white. Now I went with the white model. I feel like it just really looks kind of classy, especially with the kind of bronzes accents that it has in here. They're not large. They're considered bookshelf speakers or desktop speakers. And I feel like they could also double up as monitors. If you were somebody that had like a recording studio or a small studio and you needed monitors, you don't have a whole lot of money to just throw into monitors, this doubles up as a monitor, but also could be just like a pair of bookshelf speakers to use in a bunch of different ways. And that's because it has a bunch of different connections as well. These also have Bluetooth, and it makes it a high-res wired and wireless certified pair of speakers. It has LDAC playback through Bluetooth, so that's pretty awesome. It has an XLR input, it has an RCA input, it has TRS and auxiliary. So you have plenty of different ways that you can plug in to these speakers. And it also connects with Edifier's Connect app. Now I didn't really use this as much because I found that just the way that it is out of the box and the ability to also tune these on the back of the speakers meant I really didn't need to use the app. But the app does give you a 9-band equalizer, and it also gives you room compensation. So you have adjustments to kind of make it fit the size room or the style room that you are using these in. I would say that these are so good, especially for their size, that they're good enough to fill a medium-sized room. Now, this isn't meant to fill like a huge living room, a large room, but I would say anything from a small to a medium room, you are going to have no issues filling it with sound just with these two speakers alone. Now, I didn't use the Bluetooth connection very often because I use these at my desktop, so everything's already kind of self-contained at my desktop because I would just pull up Spotify on the desktop and listen to it that way. I watch YouTube there if I'm editing my videos, so everything's just kind of relying on me using these wired. But I will say, if I did want to have them connected over here at the turntable, just have them connected that way, I would be able to Bluetooth and have Spotify play on the other side of the room. And so having that kind of flexibility is really nice, again, especially for a speaker that you can get right now for under $200. Now, they are using a 4.5-inch woofer that's handling the mids and the bass, and they are using a 1-inch tweeter that's handling the highs. So everything's pretty much separated here. And what these are outputting, even though it's only 80 watts, is extremely impressive. It does have a frequency response that goes from 50 hertz to 40 kilohertz. And I would say out of the box, like if you just plug them straight in and you didn't mess with any of the dials on the back, you didn't mess with the equalizer, the frequency or at least the sound signature is fairly flat, pretty neutral overall. But just by using the dials on the back, I was able to get some really good punch in the low end. The highs always sounded fantastic. And I did buy some mounts for my desktop because I do use a 49-inch ultra-wide monitor. So there's not a whole lot of room on the desktop. So I bought these mounts to kind of keep the speakers off to the side, but then I angle them more in towards facing me. And the 3D sound effect or the spaciousness that I get, but also the sound being pumped right in my direction, it just sounds like you have something all around you. clarity in the mids and the treble are fantastic. Vocalists sound some of the best that I've heard out of any kind of speaker, especially in this size. And the bass I did not expect. Now, this isn't like going to be room shaking bass. It is very, very accurate, but I still felt like it has a pretty nice little rumble to it, or nice like impact to it, but it is very fast. So, if I'm listening to things like metal with the double bass of the drums, these have no issue with keeping up with that. Whenever I'm editing videos, I kind of dial it back to be a little bit more of a flatter response, so that way I'm not listening to anything colored that's not really recorded that way, and that way it's just more accuracy whenever it plays back for you guys. So again, you could use these as studio monitors. They're incredible for gaming. They're incredible for like movies, just sitting here listening to music. I mean, I've found myself just sitting at my desktop for hours listening to music just simply with these speakers. Now, they do on the front have the volume dial, so it's really easy for me to reach over and adjust the volume. But also on the front, I have a headphone output. So if I didn't have an amp like I already do at my desktop, I could plug in a pair of headphones right there. And that way, it kind of doubles up as its own amp as well. Now, it has two DSPs inside, so I wouldn't say that you would need to plug these into an amp because it's already doing its own amplification internally. But I still, just because it's already at my desktop, plugged it into the FiiO K11 just to give it that, extra boost. And if you just look at it as a whole, I don't know what the FiiO K11 goes for right now. We'll just say $150. So $150 in an amp, and then right now $200 in the speaker. So you have $350 in a very powerful sound system right here at your desktop, or you could use it at your TV, or again, right there at a turntable. But that combination right there has been the sweet spot. And again, that's why these speakers have become the daily driver, whatever speakers that I use. And I haven't seen anything that's been able to replace that. Even testing the Cambridge audio speakers that I tested recently, the $500 or maybe $600 pair of speakers, they sounded fantastic, but they didn't fit my needs as much as the Edifier has. Again, I've just been blown away. And as much as I've liked Edifier's, some headphones they've released, some earbuds, I just feel like they're really known for their bookshelf speakers. And the value here in the MR 4.5 is just, again, right now I would say it's very hard to beat at its sale price. But even at the retail price, I think it's one of the best values out there when it comes to a bookshelf or desktop speaker or monitor. Again, I think it checks a lot of different boxes, and I think that's why it's going to fit a lot of different people's needs. But guys, that wraps up my video on the Edifier MR 4.5 monitors, desktop speakers, bookshelf speakers, whatever you want to call them. Thank you so much for checking out this video. Thank you so much for checking out all the other videos. And as always, make sure to stay tuned for more.